Toy Story 2 came out in 1999 and is a sequel to the 1995 animated hit. And in this film, the story revolves around Woody and the toys, and even some other new toys. And after a little toy penguin named Wheezy gets stuck in a yard sale, Woody must go save Wheezy from being sold from the yard sale, and Woody accidentally gets taken from a man who's looking forward to taking Woody along with other toys known as Jessie, Bullseye, and Prospector to a museum. And while Buzz Lightyear and the other toys have to go look for Woody and rescue him. Toy Story 2 is a film that really does know how to be a sequel. This film really lives up to the original film. It respects the original Toy Story. It has a lot of elements that are in the original Toy Story, but are retold very well. And this film really does keep you in the edge of your seat, just like the first film does. This film is honestly a perfect sequel. And in my opinion, it's not better than the first film, but it is definitely as good as the first film. And in my opinion, it's a little more exciting than the first film, in regards to Woody going on an adventure and trying to get back home to Andy, while he meets new toys along the way, Jessie, Bullseye, and Prospector. And we get invested into each of these new toys, and especially the character of Jessie. The song that plays in the movie when Jessie's backstory is explained is honestly pretty sad. We get to know more about her and her owner, which was a girl named Emily. She abandoned her. And Jessie's been through so much after she's been abandoned, and she hasn't really been the same. And so when Woody came into her life, things were looking a lot better for her and the other toys. Until they find out that he has an owner and he's trying to get back home. The storytelling is awesome. It really is. And what Toy Story 2 did really well is something that's kind of hard to do, is not have the two main characters from the original movie be together for the majority of the film. Buzz and Woody are not... You won't see Buzz and Woody with each other in like almost the entire runtime of the film. But you get to see each of their perspectives. You get to see Woody with his new friends that he made, the new toys. And you get to see Buzz, Mr. Potato Head, Rex, and the other toys go on a journey to find Woody and bring him back home to Andy. And the reason why it's so much fun to watch is because we care about these toys from the first movie. And we care about them now. And the humor and the storytelling that's brought into Toy Story 2. It's all really great stuff. And what Toy Story 2 does really well is throw many surprises at you. Whether it's in the middle or the ending of this film really does know how to surprise you and entertain you. And that's what I really love about this movie. And this sequel only took like 4 years to make, compared to like the other sequels that Pixar has been releasing, like Finding Dory or Incredibles 2. Those sequels took like over a decade to make. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it really does take time to plan out a sequel and stuff like that. It's not gonna really come out, but Toy Story 2 came out in a little bit of a short period of time, and it honestly works. And it feels like Pixar didn't really rush on this film, and that's what I absolutely loved. And you can tell just watching this film and processing it step by step as you keep watching it. And the animation still holds up incredibly well today. It's some of the best animation I've seen in a while, honestly. That's what I've noticed with all the Toy Story movies. The animation gets better and better and better as time goes on. And I really can't wait to see what Toy Story 4 has for us. And another thing that Toy Story 2 did masterfully, in my opinion at least, is not have a clear-cut antagonist for quite some time. You don't really understand who the true villain of this movie is. For a while, you might think it's the guy who took Woody to take him to a museum, but if you think about it, he's not really that menacing until later in the ending of the movie we find out that Prospector, or Stinky Pete, is the real villain in the movie. And Pixar did that perfectly, honestly, because, usually in animated movies, it's almost obvious who the main antagonist is. When Toy Story 2 first came out, the audience were unaware of who the antagonist in the film might be. And it's genius, it really is. And usually animated films these days would have a surprise villain, and they usually get that stuff from films like Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 was one of the animated films that started that, to have a surprising villain. Toy Story 2 is also a film that knows how to keep you on the edge of your seat. Like in the sequences, for example, where Woody's arm is being teared off and stuff like that, and he probably thinks that Andy probably doesn't want him anymore. He'll probably throw him away or something. And there's even a scene in this movie, if you guys seen Toy Story 2, you guys know what I'm talking about, where his arm literally rips apart, and you're just like, what's gonna happen now? Like, you're just in the edge of your seat. You're invested. You want to know what's going to happen with Woody now. And then he eventually gets his arm put back together. Let's talk about the subplot sort of thing where, you know, Buzz Lightyear battles like Zurg and stuff like that. Honestly funny. It is really great. I actually loved that. It's genius, honestly. It really is if you think about it. It has comedy, and apart from the fact that there are 2 Buzz Lightyears in the toy store where they're at, and Al's Toy Store, I believe that's the name of the toy store, where all the toys are searching for Woody, and then Buzz comes across another Buzz Lightyear, and then like they have to team up and work together and stuff like that, and then they encounter Zurg. Really great stuff. It honestly is. It's so funny and so cool. And the opening of the movie is really cool too. You see that once the movie first starts, you see a point of view in outer space and stuff like that, and you may think that a part of this movie probably takes place in space or something like that, and then you see Buzz Lightyear, like shooting at stuff and stuff like that, and you may think that he was actually a space ranger or something like that, and you're like, no. Later on, you're like, no, because Zurg kills him, and you just realize that it was just a video game and stuff like that. That Rex was just playing a video game. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, because the character is pretty popular, so you can see why they made a video game of him. It was honestly pretty cool. The thing that I liked is Pixar decided to make a different movie from the first movie. It wasn't the same thing as the first movie, and that's what sequels are supposed to be, but it's not. What I'm trying to say is this film wasn't anything like the first movie in regards to story. There wasn't any new toys that came in, there wasn't a human villain, and Woody and Buzz weren't with each other for the majority of the film. And I love how this film is different from the first film. It has each of the Toy Story films have their own charming feel. And Toy Story 2 has a very charming feel to it. And it really does boost up the Toy Story franchise. This film is really a lot of fun with great characters, a great story, and great surprises. And it's a really fantastic film all in all. I'd have to say my only issue with this film isn't really like a flaw. It's just like it's very nitpicky. It is a very nitpicky thing for me to point out about this film, which this isn't at all going to affect my grade, but this is just a little nitpicky thing. And there's a scene in this movie where Andy runs upstairs in his room and he's excited to take Woody. Andy comes back from camp and stuff like that, and he runs around with Woody in his hand and stuff like that, and he looks at his arm and he's like, oh, I forgot you were broken. And he just stands awkwardly, and he's like, I don't want to play with you anymore, and drops him into cars, a pile of cards, and once he crashes into the cards, he just automatically ends up in some kind of weird portal, and he falls into a trash can, and gets dumped out, literally. But then Woody wakes up, and he just realized it was a dream. I didn't really like that moment. It's just a little nitpicky, though. It's nitpicky for me, honestly. I didn't really... I mean, it's not something that I can look at and be like, that's terrible, oh my god, like, why would they add that in the film? It's not anything like that. I just thought it was a little nitpicky. I just thought it's a thing that I had to nitpick at, but it's not really a big flaw, honestly. Other than that, Toy Story 2 is an amazing sequel, I'd have to say. This is a film that has given Pixar its true name, one of the films that have given Pixar its true name, and has made the Toy Story franchise one of the most beloved franchises of all time. And I'm going to give Toy Story 2 an A+. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Look forward to the next review that I'll be doing, which is Toy Story 3. But what I really want you to look forward to after my review for Toy Story 3 are my reviews for the rest of the Indiana Jones movies. In particular, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Because this year is the 30th anniversary of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And for that reason, I'm going to be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Indiana Jones, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I already reviewed Raiders of the Lost Ark months back. So I figured, since this year's the 30th anniversary of The Last Crusade, why not review all the Indiana Jones movies? So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But first I want to review Toy Story 3, which is going to be my next video. And after that, I'm going to review the Indiana Jones movies until Toy Story 4 comes out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this review. You guys are the best. Love every single one of you. Look forward to more reviews that'll be coming very soon. And as always, I am MarioFan520, and I will see you next time. Peace out.